Welcome back, everybody. When it comes to comfort foods, cozy foods, nothing brings the heat like a good Caribbean meal. Sometimes, though, traditional island dishes can be a little bit decadent. So, here to serve up Caribbean dishes with a healthy twist is the executive chef of Miss Lick Amours and CIO of Meals.ca, Lonie Murdock. Hello, Lonie.
Hi, ladies. Hi, thanks for having me.
It's so good to see you. And you know what? Caribbean food is rich, luxurious, delicious, sometimes indulgent. So tell us a bit about your relationship with your family's cooking and how you decided to explore healthier ways to cook your favorite meals.
I would like to say that most Caribbean food is actually just very healthy. We cook with a lot of fresh fish, fresh vegetables, tropical fruit. It's mainly the cooking methods or the portion sizes that might make it seem decadent or indulgent. Because I mean, you've gone out and had like rice and peas and jerk chicken from someplace, and it's like those three big scoops of rice that go with it. But that's what makes it so great. So basically, I'm taking traditional food from the Caribbean and switching up the ways that maybe your grandmother or your auntie or your mom taught you how to make it.
Well, your first dish you're going to show us is something called Stamp and Go. So, will you tell us what it is and also tell us what your spin on it is?
So, Stamp and Go is also known as saltfish fritters, and they are typically made with salted cod that you would get in the supermarket and then deep fried. So, today I'm showing you a version that is made with wild cod, fresh or frozen, and done in the air fryer or in the oven. I've also got a pan fried version of it here to show you as well, but no deep frying. We're in control of the salt. So it basically it's just a healthy twist on a really good meal.
You mentioned air fryer, and it seems to be like the appliance of the moment. Lainey's obsessed with getting one, but let's say you don't have one yet. Could you prepare it in a different way?
Totally. So right here you can see you can't even really tell the difference between all three of them, but these are done in the air fryer, these are pan fried, and these are done in the oven. So it's basically the same temperature, around 350 to 375 on a lightly sprayed parchment sheet on a baking pan in the oven until they're golden brown, and that's it. Because your fish is already cooked, it's boiled already, you're just putting it in there to get that caramelization and the color on the fritter.
Okay, so another popular fried treat is fried plantain or
Mm.
plantain, which is what I actually want to start with is the pronunciation of this word because our friend Marcy Ian has given me strict instructions that I am never to call it plantain, that it should only be referred to as plantain. So how do you say
Marcy is correct. It is plantain. Although, although I will say it really depends on where you're from and who taught you, right? Who taught you how to make it? So a lot of Latin Caribbean countries will say plantain. My family is Jamaican. It is plantain, silent A all the way.
All right. Well,
So plantain,
I will
only
go with
plantain, Lainey.
I
Plantain.
will, well, listen, I will, of course, have always only listened to Marcy, and now I will only listen to you. So, plantain it is.
Awesome.
How have
Yes.
you made your fried plantain healthier?
Again, just going along with those cooking methods, right? So we've got two versions here. Again, we've got an air fried version and an oven baked version. And it's basically the same thing as the fritters. You're going to spray down a baking sheet with avocado oil spray or coconut oil spray. With those plantains, you're going to cut them on a bias. The one thing I will say is that because you're doing it, you want your plantain to be very ripe anyway. This is what a ripe plantain would look like, almost
Okay.
completely black. You want it to be super soft because if it's got any toughness to it, it's just going to, and when you put it in the air fryer or in the oven, it's just going to lose that moisture and it's going to become even more tough. So you want it super, super sweet. And
Oh,
then, yeah, and then you're going to bake it again until it gets golden and you start to see like that crispiness around the edges.
okay. I have a
It's
question
kind
quickly. Sorry, Jess, but why do you have to cut it on the bias?
It just looks pretty.
Oh, okay, it's beautiful. I just wanted to know if there was like a science to it. Okay,
No, no, it just looks better than if you just cut a circle. When you cut a circle, it looks
okay,
more like a banana.
okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lonnie, do you use typically avocado oil as your oil of choice, right?
I do.
How come? I rarely cook with it.
It has a higher smoking point. So if you're doing
Ah,
things like, for example,
Mm.
if you're broiling something in the oven or if you're pan frying it, it's going to be at really high heat. So you want something that smokes at a higher heat point. So avocado oil, Coconut oil is pretty good. Butter is really great, and ghee is really good as well. But I typically use avocado oil. It doesn't really have a flavor, so like coconut oil does. So you can kind
Mm-hmm.
of use it in neutral cooking. So you can use it for everything. So you never kind of impart the flavor of the oil like you would with an olive oil or coconut oil.
Hot tip. So your next dish is curry chana, which is chickpeas and which I love, but I've never been able to make a good version at home. So please tell me how.
Curry chana is an amazing dish. It is vegan or vegetarian, depending on how you cook it, just depending on the oil that you choose to use. The best part of curry is cooking the curry. That's your pro tip, Jess. So you're going to put it in the pot. You're going to add the oil. You're going to add the oil. You're going to heat that oil a little bit. You're going to put your curry in the pot and you're going to cook the curry. So you're cooking out that like the powdery, and you're bringing out all of the amazing flavors, the ginger, the turmeric, all of those things that make curry so great. You're bringing out those flavors when you cook it first. Then you're going to add in all your diced vegetables, and then you're going to add in your chana. It's going to make it the best curry you've ever had.
Oh, that sounds so good. So we've got the curry going, but then, of course, with Caribbean cuisine, jerk chicken is like a staple. So walk us through how you prepare it and what the healthy twist is.
So the piece de resistance over here is the jerk chicken and rice and peas. I think that's everybody's go-to. So
Yeah.
today we are showing you we've got the jerk chicken. We've done one in the air fryer and one in the oven again. But the twist here is that typically it's done with chicken legs, skin on. We're doing skinless, boneless chicken thighs. Again, doing it in the oven or in the air fryer. So again, minimizing the amount of oil that we need to cook the meal. And then the twist on the
Okay.
rice is that it is cauliflower and not actual rice. So you
Oh,
get all
okay.
of the indulgence of rice and peas, but you lighten up the caloric intake and get a whole serving of vegetables here using cauliflower instead of traditional white or brown rice.
Oh my gosh, that looks good. And you use Scotch bonnets to, crank up that heat. But what if you're making dinner for like a baby and you need to lower that heat down?
Melissa
A
Grelo.
West
What
Indian
would you?
baby, because the
Yeah.
West Indian baby will eat the heat.
Yeah.
I think
She's
that's, but I
referring to
think that's
Mel Grelo, who doesn't
I'm
have
pretty sure
Chinese
our
rice.
colleague.
So, okay, so yes, heat is very important in Caribbean cooking. You'll see lots of Scotch bonnets here and our house-made pepper sauce here, but you don't have to use it. You're going to get the flavor. So, in particular, with the rice and peas, really what's going to impart that flavor is the coconut cream and the thyme. So you really want to make sure that you simmer those flavors together before you add it to the cauliflower because you'll get all that same flavor of the rice and peas minus the heat. You just omit the Scotch bonnet. And then for the curry, depending on your type of curry, some are spicier than others. So you can get a mild curry and then just omit any kind of additional peppers. And then for the jerk, if you're doing store bought, I make my own, but if you're doing store bought, then you can choose like a mild jerk sauce, and they'll just cut back on the Scotch bonnets that are in it. And also, if you're cooking for yourself, if you take out the seed and the membrane, that's where the
Hmm.
heat is. So if you're cutting a pepper, even like jalapenos, so sometimes they're super mild, and it's just because there's not a lot of seed or a lot of membrane in there. So that's where the heat is. So take that out, and you'll be okay.
Well, I think it's safe to say that Lainey and I can both handle the heat and that we both wish we were with you right now so we could enjoy this feast with you. Thank you so much for sharing these dishes with us.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I wish I could share it with you.
Well, don't you worry because you kind of will. Everyone watching, these recipes are going to be shared in their entirety on our social media channels. But don't go anywhere right now because we'll be right back.